The beloved Dragon Quest series has been known to release spin-offs that tend to mix up the role-playing formula. This time round, we have siblings partnered and joined with all manner of beasts from the popular franchise in order to find all of the treasure. My name's Mark Walker, a big thanks to Azdin for reviewing this one for us. Will X mark the spot, or will the coffers be empty? Well, let's find out. The story here follows Eric and his sister Mia, who live on a Viking longship and dream of someday exploring the world for grand treasures. One night, while the crew are making merry, they left their quarters and came across a pair of otherworldly creatures. Persula, a magenta winged talking cat, and Porcus, a lime green winged talking pig. They release them from captivity and flee on a boat, where they reach a mysterious island, only to discover some mysterious dragon daggers. This place, known as Draconia, is an airborne archipelago, home to monsters and treasures alike, including the 7 legendary dragon stones that are highly sought after among serious treasure hunters and pirates alike. This is an action role-playing game that sees the player swapping between the siblings as they venture out to the different areas on the map. They do this in order to carry out treasure hunts, gather resources, and also complete subquests. They'll not be doing this alone, as they're accompanied by 3 monsters of your choosing. Fans of the series will be able to recruit some of their favourite ones, if that is, they manage to defeat them in battle and impress them. At first glance, it looks simple enough, but there are some greatly thought out mechanics. Monsters take the centre stage here and have a few functions in the game. Firstly, they'll be able to sniff out treasure in the vicinity and once found, carry it for you, but more on that later. They also assist in battles, and you can give them minor commands, such as attack or retreat. They tend to fight independently by slashing or casting spells and do a good job for the most part. These also level up, becoming stronger over time. Interestingly, these will also help the player with traversal through the levels, with each monster having one of 5 fortes, essentially specific skills such as the slime's launch ability, allowing you to reach new heights. And it's one of the key factors to consider when embarking along with monsters, as it's important to mix the team up slightly and bring along 3 monsters that will help you reach new areas, or at least make travelling less cumbersome, while equally considering the monsters that will allow you to gain the most treasure, as hitting a high golden ratio score means that your party will likely find more treasure and, of course, attain a higher value. Spelunking is made quite interesting, as you hold down the L and B buttons, which will summon up a compass, essentially guiding you towards the next piece. And then we've got base building. You'll set up your base at the Trans-Draconic Railway Company, a dilapidated train station, and as you speak with some of the remnants of this place, you're challenged to clean it up and bring it back to its former glory. How, you might ask? Well, you'll be adding new facilities, which in turn will help you with your treasure hunting expeditions. They include a shop, a treasure room, as well as many others. And if you still haven't got enough to do, there's a daily quest board and a counter where you can hire a monster that might have taken a shining to you during your previous expedition, for a price, of course, usually consisting of foraged items found in the various biomes. Progression requires finding lots of treasure that once appraised will have a value, with a target wealth to reach, thus unlocking further gang levels and increasing how many monsters can be recruited, and so on. Let's look at the map and battles. Each biome is huge and has a number of train platforms that once operational become warp points. As expected, they're littered with all kinds of monsters ranging from low to high levels, and you'll know they're high rank because they cause your monsters to run away. Certainly a good indicator. They can be defeated, but it certainly comes with risks, and if your monsters die during battle, they can be revived by approaching them and holding the A button, which will obviously leave you vulnerable if it's mid-fight. On the flip side, defeating those stronger beasts rewards the player with more experience points and the chance of that being recruited. Personally, my experience of the combat was so-so. It felt a little lackluster. Your character performs the same combo, whether airborne or on land, with no blocks or parries. The only strategy is to roll out of the way, then the cues indicate specific attacks. You do get some more devastating abilities and powers once those daggers have leveled up, but it wasn't the strongest component of the experience in my opinion. Monsters do have more powerful attacks, and unleashing your own will cause you to go into a frenzy, increasing strength and speed for a period of time. What does make the combat a little more interesting is that enemies will drop medals, which you can then equip to your team members, applying certain statistical bonuses. Your slingshot can be used not only to damage enemies, but also to heal your teammates, which switched up the combat a little, although the slingshot control took some time to become accustomed to and was a little fiddly. Fans of the previous Builders games will be glad to hear that there is an online functionality here. The multiplayer, which doesn't require Nintendo Online subscription, can be unlocked fairly fairly quickly, with 2 different modes to carry out. One's all about finding hidden treasure, but unfortunately I wasn't able to try the other just due to no one being online pre-release. There's an incredible amount to see and do here, especially once the game opens up, and has a very addictive loop. I had a reminiscent feeling of treasure hunting in games like Wario Land back in the day. You want to find all the loot and you want it all for yourself, and as far as action RPGs with hack and slash combat go, it may veer on the simplistic side, but there's a strong emphasis on fun, and certainly younger players will thoroughly enjoy the experience. For me, the gameplay scores 18 out of 20. Despite a few misgivings, I do think it's achieved what it set out to. However, Control scores 16 out of 20 with a couple of fiddly mechanics. With now staple visuals from Akira Toriyama and the melodic soundtrack from the now notorious Koichi Sugiyama, visually this game is beautiful, with loads of imaginative assets being present in the world of Draconia, and it is great to see all the characters rendered in a 3-dimensional, high-quality way with Akira's idiosyncratic comic book style. There's a little aliasing, jaggy edges on the edges of some of the character models, which is most notable in handheld mode, and some slight pop-in as well, but performance is quite strong. Particular mention has to go to the cutscenes, which look quite lovely, and everything's presented in such a high quality. The soundtrack's sublime, especially the many sound effects that have not really changed a great deal in honesty since this franchise began, with refinement being the word of the day. And purists rejoice, there is both English and Japanese voiceover, although it's generally only 1 word per paragraph. And your monsters also talk during your explorations, which gives them a dash of personality, but as you'd expect, hearing those same catchphrases repeatedly can wear a little thin. Visuals score 17 out of 20, and I give the audio 18 out of 20. You'll be able to pick this one up on the 9th of December for £49.99 or your regional equivalent, and it's going to require a 2.9GB download. A physical version will be available and may be a little cheaper. It's a premium price for a decently crafted game that anyone can enjoy, regardless of experience with the genre or the series. There are a few minor technical issues, but performance is okay and there's nothing overly distracting. Although the multiplayer may not suit everyone's liking, it's at least free from Nintendo's online subscription, and it's one of those experiences you could well spend hundreds of hours in. Value scores 17 out of 20. Some Dragon Quest fans might feel a little disappointed that Square Enix released a different spin-off instead of the long-awaited 3rd entry in the Builders series. There is a lot to take in, and the game pretty much throws you in at the deep end fairly quickly. It does, however, provide a sense of wonder and captures a childlike adventure. If anything, kudos has to be given to the developers for trying to keep a beloved franchise and a staple of Japanese gaming culture new and fresh after all these decades. It's an enjoyable collectathon on a lot of levels that will keep you treasure hunting for a long time, even if the formulas and mechanics don't quite reach the greatness of some of the best from the Dragon Quest series.
They're a bit on the young side, aren't they? You really think this is them, the legendary treasure hunters?
It's still very good and scores 86%. Thanks to Azdin for writing that one. I think it's probably quite a tricky one to review, just because it's targeted almost at every age, and then it has so many mechanics in there that it will appeal differently to different players. Some might just want to spend all their time building up the base, and to others it's going to be all about collecting those monsters. Yeah, it looks nice this. Well done, Azdin. And thanks to all of you that enjoy the content. Let me know what you thought of that one. And yeah, just a big thanks for watching the channel. For all things Switch, you can save 10% by using code SwitchUp over at switchup.gg. For all things Switch, all the time, keep it Switch up. Cheers, guys. See ya!